to plan your week. You can follow it.
So if you are in those areas, be prepared, especially at Thomas Road where it seems to be moving the slowest. But overall, again, it looks to be just kind of volume related. It is 5:06 on a Thursday after all. Today's forecast made possible by ServPro. Faster to any size disaster. Call or click servpro.com today, or call the local number 318-345-5121. Again, we are watching thunderstorm potential. Your radar made possible by Brown's Roofing shows some scattered storms that have popped up mainly across central Arkansas and northern Mississippi in response to a mid-level disturbance and a slow-moving front that has remained stalled and will start to nudge through the area a little bit later on tonight. In our immediate region, what we've seen rain-wise has been rather lackluster. A few little scattered blips on radar near the state line, stretching southward toward Lake D'Arbonne, and then stretching also maybe to near the I-20 corridor and also through portions of far southern Ashley County. But aside from that, it's just the spotty shower potential and more focused thunderstorms across northern sections of Mississippi. Most of this has been along I-55 and points eastward, so it's been out of our area. But we have seen the occasional thunderstorm roll from near Lake Village to Greenville and through portions of Washington County, and will be moving out of our coverage area. But again, nothing severe in these parts as well. The more organized thunderstorm is now moving toward the highway, the 67-167 split there in northeastern sections of Arkansas. And so along Highway 167 from near Cabot to Ward to Austin to Beebe and then up toward Searcy. There's a hail-producing thunderstorm that is making its way toward far northern reaches of Lonoke County. Again, this is well outside of our area, but it is a hail-producing thunderstorm. It's not a severe thunderstorm, at least from what I can see currently, unless they just issued the warning like 30 seconds ago, which I don't believe they have. Check of the drought monitor. May, Janice, good evening. Thanks so much for joining in. And again, any rain is good rain at this point. Obviously, don't necessarily want to deal with thunderstorms, but we'll take the rain if we can get it. Extreme drought conditions now across much of our southern parishes and counties, but also into portions of southeastern Arkansas. This is updated once a week. It was updated this morning. Temperatures across the area quite warm, mid to upper 70s, some areas even into the low end of the 80s. 77 in Monroe, 78 in El Dorado, 79 in Camden, 75 currently in Vicksburg. Dew point starting to climb too. Again, a lot of low-level moisture response, and it's this shallow moisture, Karen, good evening, that will kind of be the focal point for any scattered storm potential that we can muster up over the next few hours. Wind speeds out of the southwest, generally in the 10 to 15 mile an hour range, and you can see the front approaching from the northwest and the winds out of the northwest in a lot of those areas. So again, the winds will shift behind this boundary, allowing for some sunshine as we work through the day tomorrow. Jeff asking if there's bad weather coming through Monroe or West Monroe. That's the answer, the question we're trying to answer. Futurecast, made possible by Bayou Power Sports, shows at least the possibility of a few scattered storms across far northern Louisiana, really across the entire ArkLaMiss region through the early parts of the nighttime hours tonight. Most of that will advance through the Mississippi Valley by around midnight or shortly thereafter, and storms, if they can get developed at all, that's still a big question here in the next 2 hours or so, is how much coverage we can really expect to see. But where we see storms, I wouldn't be surprised to see a hail-producing storm or two. In general, though, overall coverage of storms is likely to stay rather limited. Here's a look at the severe weather threat that was posted by the Storm Prediction Center today. Again, the main hazard, in fact, pretty much the only hazard in terms of severe weather in our area, is hail potential. Obviously, some storm-driven rains could be heavy at times, but most of that will be in an isolated fashion. Of course, in theory, yeah, a storm could produce a damaging wind gust, but it is not the primary hazard. In fact, most of these storms have generally stayed sub-severe for the time being. Speaking of, as you take a look at the severe weather alerts, watches, warnings, things of that nature, we don't have any. Just showing you this map just to prove that point. Check of the mid-level winds and a quick check of the overall change in pattern that we will encounter over the next days and probably the next couple of weeks. There's our mid-level disturbance that's making its way through the area as we speak. Starting Sunday, weak disturbance, and into Monday, another little weak disturbance interacting with a stalled front across the area. It's pretty quiet through the early parts of next week. And then you start working in disturbance number 1, Here's disturbance number 2. And there's a third one out here. And all of these start working together. Again, I don't want to get into the specifics and the timing of these storm systems and how they impact our area, because this first one is almost like a primer. You know, when you paint a wall or a fence or something, you got to put the primer up first before you really put the paint on. This first storm system may miss us to the northwest and just kind of start changing the pattern. Gets our winds back out of the southwest instead of the northwest. So again, as we start talking about storm systems next week, this first one, not overly concerning for me. The second one, a little bit more concerning in terms of how it can impact our area next weekend, and then also what we set up for beyond that. The 6 to 10 day precip outlook shows very high confidence of us being above average precip wise starting next week and going into the next 10 days. I will say I'm not as confident as the map that's being indicated here, at least in the 6 to 10 day pattern. Reason being, I still think there's a chance that the storm track kind of stays to our northwest. It's a possibility. Now, the 8 to 14 days pretty much bullseyed over our area. Again, when I show you these maps, I want you to remember that we're not necessarily implying how much rainfall. We're just showing a confidence level of being above average precip-wise. Now, usually you can infer that we're probably going to be looking at some pretty hefty rainfall if the confidence is so high, and that is a very good possibility in the 8 to 14 day pattern. But changes are afoot. That's the biggest takeaway as we go through the next 7 to 10 to 14 days. Lows tonight fall back into the mid-50s. Again, brief opportunity for some scattered showers and storms over the next few hours. Not everyone's going to see rainfall. In fact, we've kept the rain chances fairly muted and conservative. Daytime highs tomorrow in the mid-70s as the sunshine returns across the region. Not quite as warm as it was today. 3, 4 degrees, 5 degrees cooler, but nothing dramatic. Look at the 7-day forecast made possible by 3B Hardware shows temperatures overall continue to trend well above normal over the next 7 to 10 days. Morning lows may fluctuate a tad, and then the rain chances start to kind of phase back up there a little bit as we head toward... Is that a wasp in our screened-in porch? I hate those things. Then the rain chances are back in Wednesday, Thursday, and again, I wouldn't be surprised to start seeing them increase late next week. Nelda says, finally catching you live. She usually watches us after the fact, which is totally cool. Well, again, I set these live streams up for you to receive the latest weather information when you can, if you can, or at your earliest convenience. So a lot of folks don't watch us live. They just catch the forecast whenever they can after the fact. Nelda, one of those folks, but she joined us live this time. And also, full disclosure, a lot of folks, because we have this, ever-changing schedule and we're not overly specific as to when the live start, a lot of folks just don't know. And again, that's typically kind of by design. I try to keep it as flexible as possible for my own personal, life schedule. And then when we start getting into the nitty-gritty, like when we did during the ice storm, we set that schedule a little bit more specifically so folks can join us as needed. So far, we are approaching the 6-month completed mark of the digital weather desk powered by Century Next Bank. That happens on Saturday. 6 full months. And I think things are going really well. I'm having a blast. I enjoy bringing you the weather every day. I enjoy the flexibility that we've given this weather community, and I enjoy the fact that we continue to grow as a weather community. It's very exciting, and we've got a lot of cool stuff planned for 2026 and beyond. Ida, thank you so much for joining in as well. So as I wrap up and I continue my just spiel and mumbo jumbo, I just want to again bring an attention to the radar, which again, at least in the short term, is rather muted across our area. We do have some scattered showers and a few thunderstorms, but the main focus of it has generally been across northern Mississippi so far this evening. We'll keep an eye on progress. Of course, the interactive radar is always available at digitalweatherdesk.com and on the app. Links to download the app are at digitalweatherdesk.com. If anything crazy happens over the next few hours or into the nighttime hours, I'll be here to let you know about it. I am hopping over here in just a little bit to the Monroe Chamber of Commerce annual banquet and meeting, and so hopefully going to get to hang out there for at least a little bit. But if the storms get out of hand, It's not far away. It's a 5-minute drive, so I'll hop back over here as needed. And fully prepared to do so. That's why we take the app with us. Fishing game set to go out at 8 o'clock tonight. I will join you first thing tomorrow morning as we get ready to start a Friday and as we move toward the weekend. Kimberly, thank you so much for joining in. Miss May, and all of our usual suspects that take time out of the day to join us, typically live. PV, Ann, Rhonda, thank you all so much for joining in as well. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Enjoy the evening. Again, we'll keep an eye on the storms. If you need to know anything, we'll let you know about it. Thanks so much for choosing the Digital Weather Desk powered by Century Next Bank. As always, we're glad you're here, and have a great rest of your week.
My name's Chris O'Byrne. I'm with Brown's Roofing. There's a common misnomer in the insurance restoration industry that taking an insurance claim start to finish is similar to remodeling a bathroom. Well, in fact, there's a lot of red tape on the process. Sometimes major adjustments are needed to be able to get the work done and get the work done right. It is very important for an educated representative to get with you today and walk you through this process start to finish. Your peace of mind is our top priority.